Have you ever had an eerie sense that something's wrong with someone in your family and it's turned out to be true? Or perhaps you've phoned a relative and they've answered saying, oh, I was just thinking about you. Well, you're not alone. In our poll, nearly 3/4 of you told us you believe you have a psychic connection with someone in your family. And I mean, this completely rings for me. And I say ring because every time I think about Mum and I go to pick the phone up and Mum says to me, I just had the phone in my hand to phone you. And I know people say it's obviously because you're probably on the phone all the time and the statistics will prove that at some point the phone will be in her hand. But there are just so many moments that you can't almost explain.
Yeah.
And I think it is because you're obviously very close to someone, and I think you can just sort of be on the same wavelength.
But do you think it's just that, or do you think it is something paranormal?
I think it's, I don't know about paranormal, but it's not like my mum lives in the house with me, because I think I have it with Frank, definitely.
Yeah.
You could say, oh, it's because you're soulmates and that. But I think when you live in the same environment and you sort of end up sort of just being on the same wavelength entirely. But when the person's in another country or another part of the world and you still have that connection, or you know, it sometimes happens when you haven't spoken to someone for a long time and then they'll call you the next morning.
Yeah.
It's those little moments you go, that's
how
really
do we
weird.
explain those?
How do we explain that? That would be the question.
I've had that where there's somebody that I haven't spoken to in ages, and there's this thing in the West Indian circles where if somebody phones you and you were just talking about them, well, I know my family, we say, you're going to live long. It's just a saying that they say. Yeah, it's and, you know, it's supposed to be a good thing, but I like to think that I have a psychic relationship with my television because my nephew, I was at home with my nephew and we were talking about something and I said, oh, gosh, you know, I could really just do with a nice strawberry yoghurt. And then the next advert that came on was a strawberry yoghurt, and I'd had to go and get that strawberry yoghurt because it's a sign, isn't it, that I should be feeding myself.
Is that a smart TV by any chance?
It is a smart.
Probably listening to you then. Yeah.
That's scary.
It's listening. Algorithm.
You really do feel it though, Brenda, with your family members and things, don't you?
It happens
feel that
a lot.
Connection is there.
It happens so much with me, with people that some people think that I have like witchy qualities, which I don't. I honestly don't. But I think it is just, you know, if you're in tune to the universe and you put it out there, as I've said, my son he's got this big mantra about self-belief. If you keep believing, then it's going to come back to you. And I'll be driving and I say, oh, I want a parking space. And there's a parking space for me. And I've been out with a friend and we were driving and I was like, oh, it's raining, I can't be doing with this. I don't walk in the rain, I'm not doing it. And then we get round to the parking space that I asked for, that was there, and then it stops raining as well. I'm being serious. And
Brenda,
all they do is just look at me. No, they just look at me in silence and go...
Isn't that just luck?
No, it's not luck. I put it out there and it happened and it came back to me. I believe it.
I need to put my shoe on.
Everyone needs a friend in their life.
I mean, there's got to be something, hasn't there? I mean, I do think there is. I'm not a great believer in psychic goings-on and all of that. A lot of my family are. But I think surely there is something just a bit outside of ourselves, isn't it? Or is it just that we get that love is a bigger thing than we think of? Because when people talk about, like you and your mum, very rarely will you hear somebody say, oh, I get a psychic thing with somebody that I work with. Now, you could be 8 hours working with that person, you're in the same rhythm, you're talking about the same stuff going on, and you won't have those psychic moments with them. So maybe it's something connected to love. I don't know.
That's a nice way of
I
looking
love
at
my
it,
telly.
actually.
I love my telly.
Well, there you go. There you go.
Yeah. Well, lots of you getting in touch. You really, really do love this one. As I say, 70% of you believe that there is a psychic connection with someone in your family. Lauren wrote in to say, my mum knew I was pregnant with my eldest before I did, because the day of my granddad's funeral, he told her in a dream.
Oh, wow.
Jenny says as well, very often she picks her phone up to ring her mum and her mum rings her. There's lots to do with like people passing away, which I find actually really quite upsetting reading. Anne said, I woke up right during the night at the exact moment that her mum passed away. And there's loads of things like that. And again, it's a lot to do with parents.
Yeah.
And so why would there not be a connection with the people that give you life in the first place?
I think it's more to do with kind of rhythms. I think there's rhythms between people that see each other a lot.
Why doesn't it happen with people that you work with? I've never
you
heard
have-
anyone say it.
because you don't necessarily. I think rhythms come from mundane time that you spend with people. At work, you're always having conversations about meetings or what's in the papers or whatever. I think it's the rhythms of when you're just comfortable in a silence with somebody.
Intimacy.
And then I also think a lot of it's coincidence.
Well, Marie says here, and she's going to completely debunk everything that I thought, because she says, I do get psychic thingies, but I ignore it as my family are a poisonous lot, so best not to contact them. I wonder why it says, this is for Nadia to read.
She feels a connection with you, clearly.
Yeah.
Yes, Nadia.
I mean, I think it's a lovely thing to believe in, isn't it? That we can. That we
It's
have
not a
this
bad
deeper-
thing, is it?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's
exactly.
and I like that. I like the love thing. That's
Yeah,
nice.
it's a
It's because
deeper
there's a lot
love.
of love in the room. I
Yeah.
like it.